Evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome for a finals for our lower division for Amaterasu's Presence Gauntlet League. We have a banger of a matchup, a best of five, coming at you guys tonight. I'm your main caster, Sunrise Samurai, joined by my lovely assistant, Noxious Narwhal,
Hello.
and our cam operator, Skinwalker. We've gotten to see both of these teams play, so we're a little bit familiar with them. Wes, as we're walking into this, we're joining bands a little bit late. Bands are already showing up. Anything surprising you about these bands so far?
Nope. Extremely textbooks. The Vimana, a little shocking actually, now that I look at it again. I didn't take a solid glance. Bit odd to me. I probably would have recommended a Sobek ban going into Nameless here, seeing how well Sir Ominous piloted it.
Yeah, you were 100% right. Sir Ominous was an absolute monster on this last time you watched him play. I think it was what we're. Oh, there you go, and he's locking it in. I think we were what, like 18 minutes into a game before we watched him miss a block last time.
Yeah, he went 17 of 18 casually.
No,
Just
we're not gonna hold that one miss against him.
yeah, that's pretty darn good out of the Sobek there. So I don't blame him for getting it. The Wheelix also following it up is a great pick. The synergy there, Wheelix with the early pressure. Right now, early pressure is everything in Smite, and so I love this Wheelix pick too.
Yeah, super bomb pickup of the Awelix. I want to see more things to synergize into it. Me and you are kind of on the same page with this Charon pick. I'm like, cool, man. It's a really good warrior. Oh, there you go. The Geblock the Geblock in kind of facilitates that of like it's gonna be the solo because we think it's a phenomenal warrior play. It's just not a great support. Now that you see the Geb rounding this out, not too bad of a team for the early picks over here on SB side.
No, and it kind of shows with the Geb pickup that they're like, hey, we might lose pressure here early. Let's just pick the Geb, try to make it to the mid to late game, and maybe wait out this early pressure that Nameless has gone with so far, especially with that Cali pickup as well.
Yeah, the Kali pickup's probably the most interesting out of all of them, but we did remember that one game we saw Yeet play Kali, and man, was it an absolute barn burner. I don't have the stats in front of me for sure, but I want to say he went like 14-0 in like a 20-minute game. That was just an absolute rundown.
Yeah, absolute insanity out of Yeet the Jungle Buff on that pick. So right now, both teams are kind of getting what they want in comfort picks, and I think that means a lot going into the finals here. You know, you're playing what you're wanting to play instead of what's meta, and sometimes that's better.
Yeah, well, you make the argument of like we have these top meta top lock in picks, and then like people will come out and play stuff like an ADC Cupid and run a game on it, as we've seen these teams have the ability to do. So we'll see how successful this Kali has the ability to. So far, you're looking at Sobek, you're looking at Wheelix, you're looking at Wukong. I'm afraid of that Kali pick.
Yeah, I don't think anything really has a lot to fear out of the Kali, especially until she gets a little bit of damage online, assuming they don't just int, which I think is what happened when they played last game. Eat the Jungle Buff got ahead early, and he kind of snowballed from there. So you have to play this weird kind of game now from Nameless, where I have to apply pressure, but not too much, so that I'm susceptible to this Kali gank.
Yeah, that's gonna be very interesting, especially that early game. We don't necessarily think of Kali as the super early game god, and Yeet Jungle Buff was like 4-0 in 2 minutes. So like he was able to walk out of that with if I'm not mistaken, he rushed this like Atlanta's really like in your face build. Oh no, you know what? He went the T2 of the oboe.
Yep.
So made him so he was just this jungle clearing monster. They let him get that online so early that from there on, it was just straight to the moon. They had no chance of shutting that guy down just because he was farming more efficiently than any collie has any business doing because of that early gold that he racked up.
Yeah,
Onto the
exactly.
other bands, nothing crazy. Vulcan on her. They don't want more knockups to facilitate the Sawelix. And then on the other side, we see the Achilles, we see the Rama. I don't know if you remember, Rama was like the favorite pick over for SB. Just a very safe, sit back kind of hunter play.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
and
think if
then
you're picking Rama, you're kind of saying, I'm just going to sit back. I'm not going to feed. Might do some damage late game. I'll kill some towers. I'll kill some objectives, but if you pick the Rama, you're not looking to carry the game.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because especially in something like a best of 5, you wanna see them really tone and set a momentum of being in people's faces and taking those boxing matches as much as possible. Uh, the answer to this Chernobog is gonna be very interesting. Now, the question is, do you go something safe? The Hachi's already off the map, the Anher, the Rama. So a lot of your choices are really taken apart. Now, what do you expect to see SP go into ADC wise here?
Ishtar wouldn't be a half bad pick for them, honestly, right now. I think she would do pretty well. I think Apollo's found recent success in the meta with the golden shard changes. It really kind of helps out his early clear when he gets that passive and he can kind of one and then clear the wave pretty well. So I think you got a couple things you could go there that would show. I would actually really like the Apollo into this comp that kind of shuts down the Awilix when she tries to dive in on him. Just Mez, roll away, you're cool.
We both were thinking the same thing of like meet their aggression, and they turn around and pick the ultimate non-aggression pick that you can possibly go in the Jingwei. Strong choice Jingwei into an Awilix, but just kind of what we thought it was going to be from SP Gamers. Same thing that them found them success last time was leave the ADC on an island, don't do anything, and let Jungle Buff kind of run the game.
It's a
That's what this
Karen
comp is
mid.
doing to me right now.
It's a Karen mid. That's awesome.
They're on mid.
Good for you guys. I absolutely love it, dude. Watching a bit of Benny Q. He's a Benny. He's a pity. He must be a Benny Q guy. Benny Q loves these damage supports right now. He's killing it with the Atlas. He kills it with the Karen. So maybe it'll find
I mean, my
success.
friend, how do you see him having success into this Agni?
Um, Agni's a pretty good pick into him. Okay, okay. Honestly,
Yeah,
he's not that bad of a pick into an Agni just because he might not be able to match the same range as Agni, but he can kind of play this in between game where Agni can't exactly get up on him, or else he'll just dash him and two him and one him, and then Agni can't get so far away. It's like this weird mix that I don't mind.
yeah,
I actually
very, very
look for this.
interesting.
I look
This
for this Karen pick to actually do well into this team. It's pretty decent into the Wheelix, except for it cancels his root, but he can always silence her. It has good self peel. It's pretty reliable. A CC immune ult, you know, I'd like to see it pop off.
It's a tough ask into the Agni though. At what point does he threaten this Agni even the least? Agni gets to safe clear these waves as much as possible. If Agni feels like it, he doesn't have to go anywhere near this guy. So now we're looking at another game setup of I don't know if you remember from those last games. Pipe was your very typical mid laner of like, hey, see you guys in the late game. So he's gonna play nice and passive. He's gonna go something along the lines of this runic builds where he's just getting his stacks, his Thoth stacks. So now you go into something that doesn't even have the aggression for it. They're facilitating Pipe to play exactly how he wants to play this game out.
Yeah, that's true, but I think that's probably not where Karen's looking for his engagements. He's probably looking at the Sawelix and the Sobek who are going to be diving at him all game, and I think there he'll be able to find more success as opposed to this Agni.
Yeah,
And
I
and then the thing is, it's like in the 3v3, I think the Geb, Kali, Charon have the better 3v3 than Sobek, Uelix, and Agni. So
I don't know, man. With how hot we watched Sir Ominous play the Sobek last time, we talk about how much disrupt is valuable, especially into a team like a Geb, a Charon. Sure, Charon gets to roll away. He's gonna just constantly keep hitting these plucks onto this Geb. What's the Geb to do? Geb's just gonna keep getting chipped away and chipped away. Eventually he finds himself in a precarious spot, gets a wheel exalted. There's not much turnaround follow up to these Sobek plucks over on SPGamers side. These
well,
S these Sobek plucks are going to disrupt a lot of what SPGamers want to do and put them in really bad positions. And you look at, typically with those kind of Sobek things of like, you always make that argument of like, okay, Sobek dashes in, now he dies. Who on that team is really murdering him besides the Kali? And the response to the Kali is phenomenal over on Nameless' side.
I think you're underestimating this Karen support or this Karen mage's ability to do
I
damage. I think he's
absolutely
gonna
am.
I think he's gonna do more damage than you suspect to this Sobek because he's also gonna go this Conduit Gem, this Runic Shield, the Book of Thoth. He's gonna be able to chunk away the Soul Reaver. He'll do decent damage to this Sobek.
Yeah, certainly I for sure want to see an erosion on the side of Nameless. You're talking about a Geb and a Charon. I can't think of any more reason to slam some erosions on that team side.
Yeah, that'd be a great item pickup. You could also a horrific's really big right now, and that also will chunk down on shield. So I like to see a horrific pickup as well.
Yeah, and I excuse me, I can't even think of the name of it. The green executioner one that dampens shields as they pop up as well.
Envenomed, I think.
Envenomed executioner. Yeah, that hurts shields as well. So hopefully we see Charon going in that direction because it's a very specific comp that SPGamers have drafted right now. Um, we saw last game Nameless was able to turn around and disrupt a lot of plans the team wanted to do. So far both drafts extremely interesting. I think we're in for a great game, my friend.
Yeah, I do too. And here's what I suspect to happen. I think Nameless will find good success early, plucking out this Geb, maybe chipping him down a lot. But eventually, that's not always going to work. And then late game, I have to give the nod of the hat to SPGamers with the Kali, the Jingwei. They have so much CC between King Arthur, Charon, and Geb that I think their team fight will really do well if it makes it to the 25-30 minute mark.
Yeah, you're not wrong. When we were talking about that late game, Kali goes in. There's not a ton of disrupt on that team. Sure, Sobek gets a good pluck. She beads it away and then just eats it away at the rest of the team. So this is gonna be very interesting as we transition over into the late game. But the early game, I think Nameless have a huge chance to find themselves with a very big lead early on.
Yeah, and they have to, honestly. They really need to find success in an early lead. Start pushing early objectives, really get a chokehold on the map, and just try to make sure SPGamers can't get to where they want to be.
Yeah, this is realistically, as much as we go back and forth onto this, both teams have absolute game changers on the jungle. Which from the games that we saw previously, Jungle Buff and both Skinder 2000 were able to dominate games by themselves. So this is really going to come down to who's finding the most success in this game between the two of them. Is it going to be this Collier, or is this going to be this Awelix? Evidence has kind of proven before that this Kali is going to be the one to watch.
Yeah, without a doubt. But if you look at the builds right now, the Kali and the Awelix, this Awelix has gone much more early with the Eye of the Jungle and the T1 of Mace versus the Mannequins and the pure out attack speed from T1 Atlantis Bow. And
Yeah, I think what we're gonna see is him go that T2 of the oboe and sit on that for a long time and just facilitate his lane clear between the T2 oboe and the golden shard. That puts Kali kind of on pace with the lane clear of the Awelix.
yeah, it just basically means though that Kali can't fight this Awelix early because she'll do so much more damage between her autos and abilities.
Which is exactly what I want to see. I want to see this Awelix get out of very early. Sobek stepping up. Let's see. We really should have put in a pluck counter, knowing that ominous. Oh, it Caster's curse. It's our fault. We hyped him up too much. 0 for 1. Wrap it up. It's gonna be the end of the game. He missed a pluck. We're calling it there.
Yeah, the Xingwei pick also phenomenal into this Sobek. Such a good counter into it. You know, plucks him, just flies away, absolutely no issue. So it eliminates basically one person that he can target.
Yeah, it pretty much is direct counter, and we're seeing a very early transition over from Meat Jungle Buff onto this duo lane side. Oh, she was just waiting for the dash in from the Sobek. Sobek is able to find a pluck on the Jingwei, is able to do a decent amount of turnaround damage, but no real threat going towards Sobek's side. Sir Amin is able to dance around that fight very successfully. This stay-in is pretty questionable as is right now. Those archers are helping chip away at that team. What looked like a pretty successful turnaround. This 2v3 right now. Sobek, no fear, plucking Geb into the minions. Health bars are running a little low on SP. And now finally Skinner shows up on the Awelix, forces out the Shell gets a nice pluck onto the Geb. Geb taking some supreme damage. And first blood goes to Sir Ominous on this Sobek. Finding big damage, doing turnaround damage to the E jungle buff, and he falls 2 for 2-0. Going Nameless's way to this fight. They really wanted that gank to happen, and for some reason, jungle buff stayed around for way too long.
Yeah, I guess he was trying to farm left camps there maybe, and there was just disjoint between them because Jingwei and Geb are stepping up, they're getting plucked into wave, and now they're not getting the camps, they're not doing the gank. Seems like a little lack of communication there.
Yeah, Nameless walked into this entire playoff tournament setting as the lower seed in every match that they've played so far. And I wouldn't necessarily say that it's been individual plays that have outshone everybody else, but we're watching their ability to play as a team is far superior to anybody else that stepped up to them so far.
Without a doubt. And also, they're choosing good fights where they should, you know, it's like, they're like, okay, we're a Wheelix and versus a Cali. We should take this. We have to take this right now. We'll kill them if we do, you know, and they did. And it was beautiful.
Yeah, they very easily could have just backed off and sat under the tower, and we saw Sir Ominous keep up that pressure. They're seeing a blue invade onto the side of SB. They do manage to steal it for Nameless. She takes a little bit of damage in the return. Unfortunately, that's just one of those mistimed response. But we're seeing them not let up the gap. They go in for a big play. They do find a kill onto Skinder. So even though he was able to steal the blue buff, he pays for his life in return.
Yeah, the Karen ult there really helping secure that kill with the taunt back in and the silence from Karen coming through pretty clutch.
Yeah,
you know, that's what they need. That
nothing more annoying as a solo laner than a mid rotation onto a blue buff secure. You're a little annoyed that shouldn't be happening in about 3 minutes, but this is competitive play. I do love to see it happen. Sobek, although he did miss that first pluck, we're watching him get back on track where he left off and is, you know, a real nuisance over to this Geb.
Yeah, without it, and this is the tough part where Geb, you know, you're Jingwei Geb fighting into a Chernobog and a Sobek. You shouldn't, you know, just hang out, get your farm, just wait it out. Don't lose the game, you know, is what you're trying to do.
The jungle buff keeps coming over this direction. She does find a little bit of success. Unfortunately, Chernobog, no mana. He does go into the wall, though, and is able to create distance. Again, we're watching them keep their welcome far too long than they need to. Wheelix shows up for a counter rotation. Kali does get the ult off. Shell is popped, so no turnaround kill. Nameless was a little too confident on their last response to a fight that they didn't take the Kali ult into account there.
Didn't take Kali ult. Chernobog sadly dies with beads into a knockup Geb ult. It feels a little bad, you know, a little bit of relic usage there. You probably could turn that fight a lot better, but still a good Geb ult, good turnaround play, realizing you can kill that person.
Yeah, especially right now, you really don't want to be giving this Kali any kind of gold. She's sitting on this T2 of Oboe that she's gonna just ride for a while right now. Good pluck on Sobek. Unfortunately, you taunt the boat. He's able to get out. He's turning around, going for a good ult. This response so far seems pretty good. Cherno looking pretty low. Geb does show up, gives him the shield. So far, no true damage there. That erosion cannot come on soon enough. All these shields. Skinder is getting a little too cocky. Goes in for another buff invade. We see the response from King Arthur. King Arthur hits a hot ult, gets her down to about quarter health. She's trying to keep back off. The jungle buff comes in, gets shielded by Geb. A kill falls onto SPGamers' side. Skinder needs to
taking up a second.
Yeah, absolutely. Skinder needs to take his foot off the gas a little here with these jungle buff invades. Unfortunately, it's spelling disaster for his team early. And this is when their team really should be shining.
Yeah, you can't force the issue too much, you know, and you push in red half health when all three are still around to kind of fight you. Like, you know, you don't have a real advantage there. So
I can still fight.
Just reel it back a little bit, you know. Maybe look to gank the Jingwei. She's pretty killable, you know. You can cancel her dash. You know, you got a lot of good ways to fight into her. So look for a better target.
Yeah. So as we have a moment in the lull in the action, do me a favor and let's go over these very different mid laner builds that we're seeing pop up.
Yeah, Charon kind of shocking me. I thought he would go for this runic, or this, it's not runic. It's not. Tablet of Destiny build. Tablet of Destiny, yes. Tablet of Destiny build that all these mid laners are going. He just procs it on all his abilities, so he stacks it up pretty well. But he went to Charon, or the Chrono Spin it for the pure cooldown. I don't mind that. Agni going the normal build of just the solo.
Well, we were talking about that. Exactly what we wanted to see. We found this Jingwei being very aggressive. She finds herself a solo kill on this Chernobog. Cherno, unfortunately, sitting 0-2 as the game gets harder and harder for him to play. Things like that shouldn't happen, but that early kill, the fact that Jingwei is going this Devos instead of the Spike Gauntlet is why that had the ability to happen. But I interrupted you. You're talking about these mid-laner builds. Yeah, I just find it difficult for the Guardians to maybe play him off level as this their cooldown. As we're talking about that, a big fight erupts in mid lane. Charon does find a huge ult to damage all four and pick himself up a kill. Again, they're pouring so much attention into this Kali, and she has the ability to ult and escape for free. This so far between the Geb shields and the Kali ult, he's been nigh unkillable.
Yeah, and that's tough that it's happening now, because that's only going to get worse when Geb shields get more and more. He'll get Shell will get more and more active. He'll get more and more prots for his team. Eventually, this Kali's going to be unkillable completely, as opposed to now, where she's just almost completely unkillable.
Yeah, in between the fact that she's unkillable, she'll also be putting out a crazy amount of damage. Yeah. So what should be your easy moments with this Kali, I mean, pretty rough. And you know, you called it far better than I could. Apparently, fighting around this Charon is a terrible idea. Because look at 3-0 he's sitting, and he's finding himself these huge 4-man, 5-man ults. Even this early into the game, going forward, that's just going to get more and more mean.
Yeah, I say it all the time, and some people don't listen, but I think the best characters to play are the ones that have easy-to-hit abilities. And Charon ult is pretty easy to hit if people are just in a group, because it's a giant cone. Your one's easy to hit, it spreads to everybody. So, you know, things like, there are certain Guardian mages that you could go. The Atlas, the Charon.
It's certainly harder to miss than it is easier to hit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so as we transition over, now we're seeing him move into the pen. Kali already has Quint's eyes online. It was supposed to be the stepping off point for Nameless into this early game where we found him 2-0. Has now transitioned to being 5-2. Gold is still looking pretty even, but as more and more items come online for SPGamers, that team starts to get scarier and scarier.
Yeah, and what worries me more is the slight XP difference in where you're getting out-farmed basically by Kali, Charon, Jingwei, and that's not what you want, you know? Like, those are late game characters, and if you're losing the early farm to them, it's not a big deal now, but in 5 to 10 minutes, that could be massive.
Yeah, you can tell Jungle Buff plays this character once or twice. I think he had like what 8 stars on it or something, and he certainly knows this oboe mannequin pickup is the way to go for him.
Yeah, it really just allows him to, especially with, you know, mannequins getting a little bit of a buff, and from that attack speed, and golden shards, now just like getting that on rip. Basically, he can clear very well.
Over in the solo lane, we watch Geb helping out King Arthur. King Arthur goes to get out, gets a Wheelix pulled, but again, these Geb shields are so massive that this King Arthur that should have fallen in a 3v2 is able to walk away pretty harmless.
Yeah, Geb's a pretty good counter into this Sobek, and really into a whole dive comp. You know, it's like, oh, you're gonna choose this one person to, you know, try to focus out.
Yeah, like I said from the start, this whoever's supposed to be picking up this erosion, it cannot come online quick enough. And so far still nobody. I get it. It's very hard to fit an item as niche as that into your early game build, especially on this Sobek, where he wants to have a little bit of auras come online. I'd make the argument that it's a necessity. You know, like those games where you're playing, you know, 2 or 3 healers where you have to go anti-heal. Another fight's breaking out into the dual lane where it looked like there was promise. Kali and Gib health bars both go low, but the turnaround from the Geb shield and the Kali ult means that people are able to survive. Sorry, I stalled there because we saw a Charon ult coming from across the map. It is able to hit one person but not do any significant amount of damage, but Charon does show up for the fight now, lands the root onto Sobek, does significant damage. Jingwei steps up, knocks him up, but they will not find a kill. Sobek is able to walk away. That's only going to be a jungle falling for Nameless in that big engagement over there.
Wheelix 1-4, 12 minutes in, a level down to this Cali. That's a tough place to be. It's not a character you really need to get behind at in your career.
Oh, especially early game. You know, your Wheelix in the same vein as your Thanas, where you find yourself reviving with just having Jotuns, with just having a Hydra's. Not when you're a level down. Oh, Kali does try and gank mid, and Agni does turn around a little bit of damage, but as we've seen from Yi Jungle Buff, these low health bars are not enough to make him afraid. Beads are proc. Charon is under tower due to a pretty fantastic Sobek pluck. Unfortunately, Charon just mistimed his dash there, and Sobek made sure he paid for it. 4-man in mid, they did pick up a kill. I want to see them turn into something else. Hopefully they transition towards Gold Fury. Instead, they're going to settle for the Beacon and some Bastions in that mid lane.
Yeah, a little bit of gold for your whole team. I'm not sure if you can exactly get that Gold Fury with your low health bars and you survived that. Sobek was at half, Agni was 40%, give or take.
Who was there to respond? It was a Jingwei and a Geb with half mana. That's a fight that I would have liked to have taken and hopefully pushed them into a bad spot. We're seeing Jarby absolutely pop off this game. You know, we watched him play very passive on that Rama game, and then right now he's taking fights into this a Wheelix trying to gank him. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. Once this heavier pen build that he's going comes online, he should be more of a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, once he gets his Dama online, his autos will be absolutely slapping. I imagine that after he'll probably either go Kins or maybe Deathbringer if he wants to go into this crit, which he should because he's ahead. And I think if you're ahead, you should go crit and just keep doing a lot of damage.
Yeah,
But
he
that's just me.
has the ornate, so I think he's inevitably gonna go a crit. But you've been seeing this very weird power pen finishing the crit build from these ADCs lately. A fight does break out in solo lane. A ult is used onto his Kali, does get her very low health, but that Kali ult pops off. Wukong is able to stick around for long enough to do significant damage over to him. King Arthur standing and fighting 3v1. King Arthur only falls about half health, and Wheelix and Wukong realize they don't want to keep this going for far too long out of fear of the Geb showing up. So it's just going to be a 1-4 play there. But look at this King Arthur. SPGamers is playing with a crazy amount of awareness. That fight, he realizes everybody's going to walk away from him, so he walks in their jungle and steals back camps.
Yeah, absolutely great solo play right there. Let's go make it back for the wave. This guy's pretty unkillable right now, for the most part. There's not a lot of percent pin coming out of the other side. He's got double fist prots and he's going into magical. So this King Arthur is about to be an issue for the back line.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say a little more so than the Wukong. As much as this Void Stone coming back I'm not a huge fan of it. How do you feel about this pickup?
I don't know if I care for it this early. You know, I think this early you get a lot of benefits out of Mystical Mail, just helping you clear the waves, extra damage before people get that magical prots online. I liked the Mystical Mail double fist prot build a lot more, but I don't mind it as a Sun Wukong, especially where you're trying to do more damage.
Yeah, I just think it doesn't give you the right amount of tankiness that you want. Like the Mystical Mail is giving him a little bit more, and incentivizing him to be in their face significantly more, and so hopefully take away a little bit of this attention off of this Charon. We did see Charon fall for his first death there. What was a flawless mid pick. Hopefully we're starting to see a little bit of chinks in the armor, and Nameless will be able to capitalize on a little bit more. This game, regardless,
you just don't want this to work, do you? You just don't want it to work.
No, I definitely don't. This is one of those picks. Oh, and in duo lane, we're watching Jingwei get dove, have to use her Aegis. Kali comes in, but they're going to keep not learning their lesson here, where they keep fighting the Kali because they see her low. And then she activates the ult and is able to pick up another kill. In the end, the Geb ult wasn't enough to save that time. Ooh, Awelix finally does respond, gets a pluck and pulls in the Geb, but Geb finds a huge 3-man ult. What was a 3v3? Jingwei is coming back to try and even up those odds. Nameless better take their victories and walk away there.
Yeah, I think they're gonna do so. Maybe not. They're gonna stick around for these camps, and Geb's gonna initiate, so the Jingwei has time to fly back in.
We do see Jingwei coming back in. The other two are fighting real heavy for that shield buff, which they do pick up. Sobek is the one that grabs it, but is he gonna end up paying for his life for it? No. As that fight was breaking down, we were watching just Agni and Charon kind of poke each other. So far, without these stacks onto this runic, that Charon's not taking a ton of damage from this Agni.
No, and that's kind of another advantage that's a little bit slept on. It's just the innate magical procs you get from being a Guardian. It kind of helps you trade a little bit. You know, you're a little bit tankier, but you're still doing just as much damage. And, you know, it's only like 20 or 30 procs more, but those procs matter a lot in an early game trade.
That fight went so long, King Arthur was able to show up and they were able to pick up a Gold Fury for it. I wonder where that Wukong was that he was so delayed on this response. It turns out to be, with very low health bars, a free Gold Fury over for SPGamers, and they pick up a kill on the Saram and it's shutting him down on this Sobek.
Yeah, which is good. You know, they kind of need to start saying Sobek can't keep plucking on people. You know, you gotta put a stop to it eventually. You're getting to the point where you're doing damage.
Big damage onto the Kali in the mid. Wukong does use ult, forces the Kali ult down. So now is the time of the game where with that Kali ult down, I want to see them start trying to make some plays. Maybe a response from that Gold Fury is all this team is grouped up in mid. I want to see them push towards the Pyro Giant.
Yeah, and Ping's coming out for it. They're going for the Fire Giant.
The Pyro Giant. That's what
Yes, the Pyro Giant. I love it. And rightly so, they do. They get it for free.
Dashing from the Chernobog onto the Charon, but that row the boat. In the same vein of like these Vamana picks where you just see him dash and dash and dash, and you go, man, that dash should not go that far.
I don't know. I think it's fine.
Says a support. Of course, the support characters are fine. And then you watch.
You're a hunter player. You just build crit every game and dominate things. I don't want to hear it. All right, I don't want to hear it.
Hey, Jingwei doesn't have a single crit item right now, and she's doing great. She's gonna finish with probably a crit item, but it's not crit yet. Damn it! I see you hovering, Gilded Arrow. It's not crit yet. It will be crit. We're seeing a lot of this pickup because of the new Deathbringer, accentuating crit chance, where they're building just this flat power pen build, and then ending with a Deathbringer and upgrading that Ornate puts them at about, I want to say baseline 60% crit chance, and then top that onto a Jingwei with her 2. She's sitting at about 90% crit chance with only 2 crit items, which is pretty nonsense. So this Jingwei, as scary as she is right now, is only going to get scarier. We're watching a fight break out in mid. Yeet Jungle Buff does blink over to the Awilix, gets her about half health, but no other success. And the blink is down for the time being.
Yeah, I agree. Right now, Hunter builds are pretty simple. You build basically any combination of items you want to, and you'll do a bunch of damage late game. But that's the preferred build for everybody.
This King Arthur is showing no fear. Like you said, tanky. He's going under tower. Pretty much 4v1 because the rest of his team is sitting back, doing a significant amount of damage over to that mid Agni. Doesn't find a kill yet, but turn around and Yeet Jungle Buff finds a kill. Finally, she falls all the way in the back due to this Chernobog ulting over. King Arthur somehow walks away from that fight, sitting under a T1 forever. This King Arthur going 4th item prophetic is only going to get scarier as this game goes on.
Yeah, once he gets that mitigations going and he gets Blue Stone and the Mystical Mail and he's just doing a bunch of damage and you can't kill him, it's going to be a real nightmare. A little frustrating there out of the King Arthur. He's diving tower. He's got 4 people's attention, and his team's just sitting there in mid, kind of watching. And it's like, well, come on, guys, let's get involved. You know, let's do some stuff.
Yeah, eventually the Kali joined. Unfortunately, it was far too late and far not enough.
Yeah, right now, you know, there's no real lead per se anywhere. It's pretty even game, so I'm not too sure that any Gold Fury fight is actually looking great for anybody. You know, I think maybe this King Arthur proved that he's a force to be reckoned with right now, opposed to Sun Wukong, so maybe that's something they could look to
Yeah,
push.
I would make the argument that SP probably feel like they're in control right now, regardless of how even the map state may be. But this Kali, we always look at the jungle matchup. You know, this Kali being as much of a show of force as she has been. I want to say SP feel like they have the ability to pull objectives like this right now. So far, they're pulling Gold Fury. They've got it about half health. No real response over from Nameless yet so far, and if it is a response, it's going to be looking like a bait. So far, just Sobek shows up, not really too afraid, but on the opposite end, we're watching this King Arthur finally take some serious damage. That time it wasn't under tower, but he was in a 4v1. Wukong doing his best to get out of there. Both solo laners getting shredded, but only the SPGamers solo laner falling. Kali does come around for a very sneaky pickup. Does significant damage over to the Awilix. Wukong not able to get out, but a blink out from Awilix. So far, this trade only a big 1-for-1, but health bars are dropping considerable. Oh, and a big Sobek pluck with a ult over the wall, but you ulted the wrong person. You brought Yeet Jungle Buff over. He is able to kill Awilix for this 2-for-3 trade right now. Health bars are low. I want to see them continue to engage. Unfortunately, the health bar on this Jing Wei is strong, and so do those basics, making sure that her Gab is able to stay alive.
Yep, figured out. I think I figured out why that what's his name there? King Arthur got melted. I think he got crit like 3 times in a row right there by Chernobog, because he had a lot of health, and then all of a sudden he didn't.
Fail Not was on cooldown, so he probably ulted, triggered the Fail Not on him, and then who knows, Sobek critting him might have been enough to put him down there. But yeah, Arthur is back with full health, with a vengeance, getting those Geb shields. Is pushing the enemy, pushing Nameless off of this beacon boogie right now. It doesn't really favor their ability to grab this, with the exception of the Agni is doing some good damage over the wall. It's not an ult comes out on Geb, is able to get Sobek down to about 1 HP, but Sobek, as we've seen, the Sir Ominous does not back down, gets a huge pluck, pulls Arthur back, finds a kill. We are seeing some signs of life from Nameless here. They, you know, were behind in the kills, but never behind in the gold, and they're certainly keeping their ground in this map right now.
Yeah, as they should, you know. There for a second, SPGamers did have a small lead that they could have pushed, but they failed to really group up and grab anything, so the game even back out, and right now, like I said, it's even, so if you go out there and make the better plays, you can still win this game easily.
Yeah, I want to see them pull more objectives. SP have the ability to start pushing this. Unfortunately, their objective shred isn't phenomenal if the Kali's not around. But right there, Jing Wei, it's Geb, they're standing on a Gold Fury, and they know the enemy team's on the Pyro. I don't understand why not pick that up. So now we see the turnaround. Cherno and Sobek are standing around that Gold Fury, making a presence, trying to force out a fight over on this side. If we look over to solo lane, though, a gank onto the Wukong by the Kali is responded with the Awilix showing up, does do significant damage. Kali has to use her ult. The Sobek is coming through. Or I'm sorry, from Wukong. The ult from the Chernobog goes over there. But see, right now is where I'm talking about. We need map awareness to pop up for this SPGamers. You know Chernobog ulted over there. Pull the Gold Fury. Grab Geb. We're seeing a big usage from those teleporters where they make a big transition over to the soul lane and then they teleport back, pull Gold Fury. So a Gold Fury that I was screaming for SPGamers to pull for 5 minutes. Nameless are gonna claim for their own. So that's the first Oni of the game going over to Nameless' side.
Yeah, counteractively, instead of going for gold there, I think they had a legitimate shot to pull fire with Eat the Jungle buff down. I'm not sure how effective their dive is without that Callie around to kind of be the threat that the King Arthur needs.
Yeah, they just saw Arthur and said, "Hey, let's use this cool new teleport thing."
Yeah,
They
that's true.
three-man teleported over, grabbed an easy gold fury. It's definitely the safer of the two. You're right, but as more of this shred comes online for this King Arthur, they're gonna start to dominate him. Let's take a look over to those Soul Lane builds. Walk me through this Wukong build right now.
Yeah, it looks like he's not respecting this Jingwei crit, and he should be worried about that. Because late game, when she's critting him for 500 or 600, he's going to want some more defense than Brawlers and what I suspect to be a Heartseeker.
Yeah, but as we look towards the end of his build, we're looking at a Brawler's pickup. I'm not necessarily too sure who that Brawler is for.
Yeah, I guess maybe for Callie reset, maybe just to help with this Jing life skill, maybe? I don't like it. I'd rather it be a Spectral or maybe just an out-and-out full defense item like Spirit Robe is really good into their team. They have a lot of CC, you know, something like that that would help keep him alive for longer.
Or maybe the Erosion that I've been
Well, yeah,
asking for.
yeah, Erosion would be great.
It does look like Sobek's finally picking it up. Thank God. And Sobek has the Spectral. So Sobek is answering a lot of the problems that you have with this Wukong build. Major aggression onto this King Arthur is met by SPGamers coming on the backside doing a significant amount. Kali is forcing her ult. Kali one tap. She did get a shell over from the Geb. Wukong tries to go back in. Is stunned out by King Arthur. Is he able to pick up the kill? Yes, he is able to pick up the kill, but the turnaround damage, Geb rolling out, comes in. Jingwei picks up 2 kills in this huge 3-for-1 fight going SPGamers side. We're watching them make the same mistakes over and over again. Leave this King Arthur alone. They go on to King Arthur again, and the response damage from SPGamers is absolutely phenomenal there, and finds themselves in a position to pull Fire Giant that they shouldn't have any reason to be able to before this.
When people try to kill the solo laner in past, I would say, why are you doing that, man? Just go after someone who's not complete tank. You know what I mean? Go after a squishy, go kill them. You're not gonna kill this King Arthur.
I mean, I don't mind going after him, but in an area like that where you're diving so hard towards a T2, like, man, people don't understand that, like, hey, the gank's failed. Let's back up. They want to double down and keep trying to make it work. Where right there, cool, you guys go in, you do a little bit of damage to the Arthur. You see it's going further than it needs to. Back up. Nameless just gave up a pretty significant lead for no real gain. Oddly enough, they're only sitting 600 gold behind, so it's not the end of the world. Towers are still falling in their favor due to Winions. But unfortunately, that was a huge spike going back in their favor for SPGamers.
Yeah, and looking at the teams, I'm trying to figure out who has the better siege and versus defense here, and it's kind of odd with this Charon. This Agni, of course, has great defense, you know, just with oh, and they're looking for that.
And the Agni Dash there, that's a lot of damage onto that Charon. This is what I was talking about, the ability to disrupt. Kali is going in, force that Kali out very early. Sobek sticking with her. So far, the bane of this Kali's resistance has been this Wukong's ability to ult and respond back at her. But she does make it out, you know, pretty cause-free, sitting 5 and 7. I don't think she's too worried about those 7 right now.
Nah, those 7 don't mean anything when, like, she's a walk-in pentakill if she gets her moment to recapture.
Yeah, so even though Fire Giant's sitting on the side of SPGamers, a phenomenal Sir Ominous Sobek pluck is enough to change the face of this game on itself by taking that Charon off the map and leaving a T1 in mid alive.
Yeah, I mentioned the Sobek, said he was good, and I feel like maybe SPGamers should have looked into that, because I don't think they'll ever get this Sobek again.
If they watched any of the VOD from last week, they would not let him touch this Sobek. Unfortunately, that's a moment right there where Wukong with this weird pen power build that he's going. If he finds himself out and alone, he's gonna get shredded. So a failed T1 siege last time is turning into a very successful T1 siege this time. But the turnaround damage from this. Ooh, do they see the Charon all coming in? They're backing. Ooh, I'm sorry, I was staring at the Weelix in the back, hoping that she's gonna get Charon ulted. Well, all that was happening. The dive in on the team finds 2 other successful kills. Agni is doing some big damage, but he's not enough to hold this Phoenix all by himself.
This Phoenix should fall pretty easily.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Big team play is there. Unfortunately, they choose to plant their flag in a T1 tower. 32 minutes in, they don't really have any business. Wheelix ulting the Kali, and that is a target that you want to ult. Turns around, picks up a kill onto the Wheelix. Agni is doing some pretty significant damage. Finds 2 kills the other way around. They're damaging this get out, so what looked like it could have potentially been an end there. Ooh, Agni turns around, finds himself a triple kill, but Jingwei showing up is able to destroy him pretty quickly. An easy double onto SPGamers' side. All 5 down on Nameless's. Sobek does respawn, so this isn't going to be an end, as well as those towers still remaining up.
I think Agni killed Cali in alternate timeline.
Whoa, the ticks?
Yeah, the ticks.
Yeah, alternate timeline is triggered, and it's on a significant cooldown. Jingwei getting a little too cocky with these pickups. Cherno, Alt, and Sobek are able to find a kill onto her. They are going to stick around and try and pick up this pyro. Mainly just to take it away from the side of SPGamers for these nasty sieges. Mid Phoenix is down, but we are watching everybody respond onto the side of Nameless as Fire Giant does respond. I want to see a big defense here. They cannot give up this EFG if they plan on staying in this game.
Yeah, I think at this point, everything's pretty even. You're proving that you can fight. You just have to let this Sobek hit a great pluck like he's shown to do and go off that. And he did get that erosion finally. He's going to get more cooldown when he gets his Prid win. Eventually, the Sobek's plucks will be coming on through more and more, and that's when Nameless should look to dominate.
Yeah, finally 5 items in. The on the support of all people, who's building slower than everybody else. The erosion finally shows its face. So we'll start to hurt this Gab and this Charon a little. Hopefully that starts to be the difference maker. We looked away from these builds for a little while, but I want to pay a little bit more attention into the King Arthur's build. Still doesn't have the prophetic stacks all built up, but final item did go the spectral. So he's showing a little more respect to the enemy team's damage than this Wukong, as you pointed out earlier.
Yeah, and I like that. I think you almost basically have to have a spectral out of both your solo laner and your support these days to survive the crits that ADCs are doing.
This Sobek build is so questionable if you ask me. This Heartseeker, this Brawler's pickup, I don't understand. He's banking on his ability to get all time. Sobek does find a huge pluck there, but the response to King Arthur, Agni, is picked apart in the back line. Big damage going on to everybody else. But Yeet Jungle Buff not even there, gonna go grab himself a second bird for free. So even though this is a 4v5, SPGamers just racking up the kills. This mid Charon absolutely popping off with his ability to get aggressive there. Yeet Jungle Buff picks up that left bird while it looks like everybody else is gonna fall. Agni's still doing significant damage over the wall, but the blink in from Yeet Jungle Buff finally shows up to the fight. He's able to pick up a kill onto the Sobek and onto Agni to round this game 1 out for SPGamers. Yeah, even 2 towers remaining, so that Titan still had some bonus health, but they did not seem to care. That fight was a 4v5 due to Kali being in left, and SPGamers were still able to find a win there.
Sun Wukong dove the Jingwei there, and it was good. But he didn't kill her. Left her with like 20% health, and then she's like, "Oh, well, that was your whole kit. All right, well, I'm gonna crit you now." And she did, and she killed him. And it's like, that sucks. That's
Why
pretty
the
much.
build is so questionable. I get the Bluestone, don't get me wrong. Warrior's Axe is so overpowered right now, if you ask me. But you go Warriors Axe and you go Glad Shield and then build the rest tank. You have the ability to dive that team and sustain. I really really dislike the Brawler's Heartseek up pickup here. I think like you said that dive maybe a little bit tankier. Spectral, he's able to find that Jingwei kill. Unfortunately, he's shredded before he can even go into the sky, and that seems to find despair for Nameless, where they lose his first game. Not to blame the Sobek completely. The Wheelix, however, did start very strong. Unfortunately, finished 2-9. So for this game too, I want to see Sir Ominous get his Sobek, but I want to see the other picks sharpen up a little bit. We're gonna throw to a break, and we'll join you shortly for game two.